is a 1899 Locomobile.
Steamer.
As you can see, I'm working hard.
Now, when did you get the Locomobile, Wayne?
I don't remember for sure. 1974, I think.
74. That's about the time you got the Pullman, too.
Bought the Pullman in 72.
72. Okay.
Yeah, the Pamphylon Award, which is the ACA's one of their major awards. It's more than just a senior first prize. And I had it all apart, redid the whole car. It was burned when I got it. We had a big burn spot here on the side of it. And I did that over and worked here helping me with it.
Well, that I didn't know. I didn't know you had to redo the car.
Yeah, it was all burned on the side here. The paint was burned off really bad. I'm at 180 pounds of steam pressure, 30 pounds of air pressure on the fuel tank. This car is serial number 21.
So it's one of the earlier ones.
It has to be about as early as it gets.
Well, that I didn't know either.
Locomobile was the first mass-produced car in the country.
Uh-huh.
They were steam-powered, but Oldsmobile was gasoline-powered. Oldsmobile claims to be the first, but really Locomobile was before Oldsmobile. This is probably the very oldest mass-produced car in the country. The Locomobile was recognized as the first mass-produced car, and since this is such a low number, it's probably the oldest one. I don't know for sure, but we think so.
They made the steamer up through 02? 3.
Yeah, 03. Fun car to drive. Didn't worth anything as far as that's concerned. And if you want to walk back, you can take it out for a ride. It's just a toy, really. It was a lot better than a horse and buggy. Behind it, or ahead of it, I should say, there is a white bicycle, 1899.
Which is the same as the white you have in the back, the 09.
Right, same company.
Same company.
White's big business for sewing machines, but they did produce other things like bicycles and so forth.
And the air pump that's sitting behind it?
Oh no, I got that from Leo Feller, and the base I got from Leo. The top I bought at Hershey.
Oh, so you put it together then?
Like that top's too small for it, but that is the right base and top combination. This clock on the wall here is hung in Dad's office and in my office for 50 years. Dad electrified it. I do have the works around here for it somewhere. The wheels are Stanley wheels. The Model R Stanley, 28-inch rims. Those jazzy tires I got on there really field tile. I thought that was a better deal than buying expensive tires for it.
Anything else in here noteworthy? What about the pop machine?
We bought that over in Portage, Ohio, south of Bowling Green. And the gas station was closed up, owned by Ted Chanute. Ted was a dealer in all kinds of auto parts, and especially early stuff, and also he sold machine shop equipment. That was in the gas station next door. He owned the gas station too, and it closed up. So asking, he said, "Would you sell me that?" "Oh yeah, sure, I'd sell it." "How much you want for it?" "Oh, $10.
Really? You gave $10 for it?
I said, "Yeah, that sounds good." He said, "You come over sometime, we'll dig it out." I said, "No, I think we'll dig it out right now." And we were paying $10 for it. It needs a little work. It had a bad condenser in it, and I got a condenser to put in, but I never got it put in.
That's more of a showpiece than anything else. It needs to run. So.
Yeah, it's just a decoration.
The Tiffin radiator behind you?
That is a Tiffin. The script is from a Tiffin truck. The radiator itself is from a Vogue automobile made in Tiffin. No Vogues exist. Some guy comes dragging it in here one day. He'd been to an auction down by Bucyrus and he bought it at the auction. I gave him a whole $35 for it. Anyway, it's a rare piece, I guess you'd say.
What are the lights from? You don't know? Or?
No, they're just lights.
Just lights.
I think maybe they're Dodge, I'm not sure.
Probably later 20s since they're nickeled? Or?
I think they're probably about 17, 18, something like that.
Oh, okay.
About the same age as the radiator.
So Tiffin made cars from when to when?
Well, I think 1914 until 1922. But I'm not sure. I never could nail that down tight.
Kind of tight quarters in the shop back here, but big enough for a car. Just to get a little feel of what the shop looked like. Okay, now we're back in the shop. Wayne's sitting next to his 1931 Chevy that he got when he was 14, I believe. And it's taken him quite a long time to restore it, but then he didn't start on it until not too many years ago, was it?
Started on the way back when I was 14, but I didn't gain much. In the years since, in the 55 years since, I managed to lose most of the pieces that I had to find. Had to dig them up afterwards. Some I never did find. Anyway, I got it almost done. I'm glad when it's over. Might well be my last car, I don't know.
This is a straight 6 with a little 5-window coupe with a rumble seat.
That's right. And it's a 194 engine, which is really a 30 engine. I gotta swap that out and put the right one in. I do have the right one for it, but this one was the one that was in it, and I didn't know it was the wrong one. So I had to send it out and had it rebuilt and all that, and now I find out I have the wrong engine. Anyway, it's all together, and I just about got it done. Got more plating to do, got bumpers to do, and wiring to do, and get the right engine in it while I'll be done with it. Oh, they put me in the poorhouse.
Well, paint's getting more and more expensive to do. Chrome is more and more expensive to do.
True. I'd like to say I got about $10,000 in it. take it times 6 or 7 or something. Nice car, should be a nice car. Hope I can drive it.
Well, if we hurry up and get it done, you can drive it.
Gonna have to hurry. It is the original color. It's called, I forget what it's called.
Is it crimson red or?
Harvard Crimson.
Harvard Crimson, that's what it is.
It's a great color for the car, though. They offered them a red and a blue that year.
Really, just 2 colors?
And you couldn't buy any color, just any old color you wanted. Of course, you can't today either.
No, but they usually offer, a dozen or so colors.
They sell a lot more cars now, too. I'm working at it slowly. I might get it done the next 10 years. Hopefully before that.
Yes, we want you to drive it. So what year is the truck?
1906.
It's an American truck?
American, made in Battle Creek, Michigan.
Battle Creek, Michigan.
It has the distinction of probably being the oldest four-wheel drive vehicle in the world. Of course, I'm guessing at that, but I think it might possibly be.
Right.
It is four-wheel drive and four-wheel steering, 2 cylinders. I don't know what the cubic inch is, but it's fairly good size.
More torque than horsepower.
It's more something, I don't know. It's a very easy thing to crank.
And the engine actually sits under the seat.
Right. And you crank it toward you, which is backwards. Let's jump out of the way here. The cranks. See what I can do without being in your way.
Huh.
This way around.
Yeah.
This is backwards. You want to watch your little finger here. You get a snag between that pedal
And the floorboard?
cut your finger off.
Huh.
I put an electric fan on it. If there was no fan, then it would get hot. So
Oh,
fan on it.
yeah.
Steering is right up here in the top, flat. The lever's a starter lever that engages pins on the flywheel. Out of the way here.
When I was growing up, I don't think I remember this truck at all. When did you get it?
I bought it back in the 90s sometime.
Yeah, that's why.
93 or 4, something like that. It was in the Ford Museum for a lot of years. They sold it out, or they acquired it in 1938, I think. They sold it back in the 80s. And then I bought it from the guy that bought it at the sale. Tom Monahan, the Domino Pizza guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've been up to Domino Farms a few times.
I just went up and got the truck, so.
We had, early on, probably late 90s, we had Camaro shows up there.
In the museum.
Not in the museum, at Domino Farms, the farm, in their main office there.
Yeah. In that big office they had a museum also.
Oh, really?
And this was part of it, and the steam engine that you'll see in a little bit was part of it. And a lot of other vehicles.
Huh. right next to it's a 26 hop.
26 Automobile 8.
It's a straight 8.
Straight 8. Not a big engine, really. 262 cubic inches, I think.
And it's a coupe with a rumble seat.
A 3-window coupe.
I remember when you were finishing this up.
I bought it in 1965, I think, for $100.
Yeah. And it took you 10 years to?
11 years.
11 years to finish it.
It's been a very satisfactory car. Pretty little thing. It's like a small Packard.
And the only one you know that's still around?
You know, there was another one down Texas, too. It was pretty well beat up and chewed up and everything else. The guy had in his barnyard and the horses ate the wheels off of it. And chewed the steering wheel up and top fell in on it and all that. It was pretty tough shape. I bought this one over in Cary.
Yep. And as you like to say, the woods aren't full of them.
The woods are not full of them.
And then the car next to it.
I was looking for a grass car. I wanted something, you know, pretty nice. And this was in 1972. 1910 Pullman was advertising magazine. And I called the guy, called him 22 times before he answered the phone. And I said, when he answered the phone, I was so startled I couldn't think what kind of car it was even. I said, you the guy with the old cars for sale? And he said, yeah, which one? I couldn't think. I said, what do you got? He said, I got a Rolls Royce, and he said, I got a Pullman. I said, well, Pullman's the one I wanted. He said, I made an offer over the phone. He didn't take it. He said, you have to look at it. And I said, all right. So it was Valentine's Day of 1972. I flew to Boston or Baltimore and looked it over and paid for it right then and there. And rented a truck and we hauled it out home in a U-Haul. I left there by myself and drove the truck home. And it's been a good car.
Yeah, you've been on a lot of tours with this car.
I sure have.
Just about run the wheels off of it.
Yeah. It's been a good one.
T-head, 4-cylinder.
Had 5 main bearings. 302 cubic inches, it's 4.5 by 4 3/4. 3-speed forward. Not a big powerful car, but it's an awfully good car.
Good, reliable car.
I sold a lot of good cars and kept this one.
And then next to it is a MG. '53 MG. And I don't remember this one growing up either.
I bought this one about 5 years ago.
Oh, really? It's all that long? It's not any longer than that, huh?
Green Falls, Ohio. I bought it because it was cheap.
Because it was cheap.
And I spent more than it was worth on it. Which is a common thing. Fun car to drive, but it's kind of tight quarters in it. You step on one toe with the other foot, you know what I mean? Trying to push a clutch.
And next to it is the Abbott.
Bought that car in 1980. I think if I remember right, for $3,500, I'm not sure.
I sort of remember when you got it. And I wasn't much to it. It was just a frame and engine, as I remember.
All apart.
It's all apart.
Most of the pieces were there. I did have to build a body frame for it, but most of the pieces were there. And then later on here, until 2 years ago, I decided it's time to put together. And it took me that long to get it to run. I got it running pretty good now.
Yeah, we took it to Greenfield last year. First time.
Yeah, we sure did. It's 40 horsepower, 350 cubic inch 4-cylinder engine, L head, 3-speed transmission. Kind of fun to drive.
That would have originally been a touring car, you believe?
It probably was. Roadster, touring, one or the other.
Sort of like the Pullman.
Yeah. I would guess it might have been a Roadster because of the steering wheel angle. Oh, I dropped that down 3 or 4 inches.
I was gonna say, you dropped it down though.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite that angled out there.
Yeah.
And then next to it is the F, which was Grandpa's car.
I bought that car along with a group of cars in 1975, I think.
Oh, really? That long ago?
Yeah.
That I didn't realize.
10 cars in the group. There's only one out of the 10 that I wanted, and it was a 1960 Elmore.
I don't remember the Elmore. I remember hearing about it, but I don't remember it.
I didn't give it too many years. When I was in 77, I needed money, so I sold the Elmore.
But you sold the F to Grandpa?
Yeah, he wanted to keep it, so I said, all right, if you think it's all. I borrowed the money from you to buy it anyway, so I just erased part of the bill.
Ah. That's one way to do it.
Along with it was a Model S Ford.
Oh, really? At the same time?
Yeah, I bought them both up in Norwalk in the same deal.
Okay.
There were 10 cars in the group. And I wanted the Elmore, I didn't want any of the others.
So you bought all 10 cars?
All 10 verbally. And he said, well, if you don't mind, he said, I'd keep that 11 Ford. I said, oh, good. And we kind of scratched it off of this. And then we said, we talked a little bit, and he said, well, you know, he said, my daughter would shoot me if I sold that Model A Roadster. I said, I don't want you to get shot, and I scratched it off of this. Talked a little bit longer. He said, my brother wants that 40 Ford convertible. Oh, I think you ought to have that, and scratched it off of this. And it's getting cheaper all the time. And so the fourth car was late 50s Chrysler 300 with the carburetors out on top of fenders and all that. One of them crazy jobs.
Huh.
And it was $250 we had down for it. He said, I don't suppose you want that? No, I don't want that thing. Scratched it off the list. And then he had my MG like this. And I said, you probably don't want that either. He said, no, I said, it's a foreign car. I don't want that thing. Oddly enough, I bought one later, but not the same one. And next car was a And I think they're going to satisfy. Well, I know the V16 Cadillac, nice car, sedan, but it was 16-cylinder, 1930. He says, if you don't mind, he says, I'd keep that too. And I said, oh, that's all right. I scratched it off. But that was dumb. $4,500.
Really?
Anyway, I sold it to him and let him keep it. And it was down to 4 then. And I bought the other 4.
What was the fourth one?
Ford and the Elmore and the Model S Ford and the Model T Coupe.
Oh, Model T Coupe.
And I sold it for $900.
Wasn't much of a car?
Yeah, Republic, what's that?
It wasn't much of a car?
Oh yeah, the complete car, nice and shiny, everything, all restored.
$900.
$900.
Of course, this is back in 72, you said?
75.
5.
But anyway, as things turned out, this is the only one I have out of the 10.
Which at one time it was Grandpa's, and then you...
Yeah, he wanted to keep it, so I let him keep it, and I didn't have any of them then. I sold the T and kept the Elmore for a couple of years. And I sold it when I bought the white steamer.
Limited space, we'll make it work. This is the big car. 1914 Locomobile. Model M48. And you got this some, well, it's probably been 35 years ago now.
1978.
78.
Wayne, Indiana. Dick Stat. I've been a guy for years on the tours. And asked him if he had a Locomobile. He said he did, and he'd sell it, so I bought it.
Hard to get an idea how big it is in this room, but this is a big room, and it's still kind of takes up the whole thing.
40-inch wheelbase.
How much?
140.
140-inch wheelbase. That's pretty long.
It's all cars. Car's $5,100 new.
5100 new.
In 1914. And that was probably $200 a year is all he made as a laborer.
Right.
So it was an expensive car.
Well, it's a high car too. You're about 6 foot tall.
Yeah, it's just under 8 feet.
So the top is under 8 foot.
So it goes through an 8-foot door.
Okay. Which is still pretty high these days. Most of them are 7 foot.
It's pretty tall.
And it took you 33 years to do this?
I started on it in 78 and I pottered around at it for a lot of years and finished it up in 2011. What I would do is save up money between each job. And I'd save up enough money to get something done, I'd hire it done. I start out with the wheels and the woodwork and the body, and then the sheet metal on the body, and then the engine. did all the assembly myself. Started on 2007 when I retired from the business and finished it up in 2011.
6-cylinder, you said it was 5?
4.5 to 5.5.
That's the
525 cubic inches.
Yeah, 525 cubic inch.
Yeah, it already the hood.
A lot of cubic inch for a 6-cylinder. At least these days, anyway.
Size. They're fairly common size for big cars in those days.
Right.
Pearson, Locomobile, and Winton, and Packard, and they all had the same thing.
But this was actually a Locomobile engine, though, right?
Yeah, sure it is.
So they were just kind of copying off each other. They weren't necessarily buying the same.
Well, they just landed on that number for some reason. It seemed to be a popular number for size.
What did you say it was 4.5 by
5.5.
5.5? So it's nice, sort of round figures. Maybe that's why.
Long story. Same size as that Abbott in there, except it's 2 less cylinder. I haven't got the bugs out of it yet. I haven't driven it hardly any. I don't think I had 20 miles on it yet.
Beautiful car, though.
Yes, it is.
And you knew you always wanted something this caliber?
I wanted a big car like this. I waited too long, though.
Waited too long to get it, or too long to finish it?
Too long to get it. And then too long to finish. 33 years.
The Locomobile at the time, this is kind of like the Rolls Royce of of automobiles at the time, wasn't it?
Well, their motto was, everybody has a motto, and their motto was the best built car in America.
It was built in Bridgeport, Connecticut?
That's correct.
And this particular car ended up in California, right?
It went to California when it was new and was out there all its life until probably in the mid-70s. And we got back here finally, and I bought it. But
Amazing they shipped the car from Connecticut all the way out
they put it on a railroad car.
on a railroad car.
And the mate to it, one serial number newer than this one, is up in Grosse Ile, Michigan. They went to Arizona, or went to California too.
So they went as a pair out there.
Yeah, apparently they were in the same boxcar.
You don't think it wasn't the same person buying them, though?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Same dealers all. This was around San Francisco area. It was converted to a record truck, I suspect, in the 30s, maybe 20s or 30s.
Right.
They did a lot of that in those days.
Well, it was heavy enough for her to go. So.
Yeah, it's heavy enough, and it had 4-speed transmission. It pulls stumps out, it's a powerful devil. Locomobile had something different than anybody else. They had a bronze crankcase.
Right.
This one had 600 pounds of bronze in it, they claim.
Wow.
Transmission case, steering gear case, crankcase, that was all bronze.
All leather upholstery.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I probably I paid $5,000 for the leather itself. And then I spent
Just for the bare leather.
just for the hides. Then I spent another probably $6,000 or $8,000 getting it put in. Top was $900 or $90 a yard.
Take a look inside it a little bit, maybe. We can see something.
Out of the back.
Oh, really?
Might be out of the front too. I don't know. You can open the door if you want.
Yeah, a little dark in here to actually see much, unfortunately. So it's a steam engine. Farm thrashing engine.
Not self-propelled.
Right, you tow it. It's got a tongue.
It's got a tongue on it so you can pull it away or team.
Right.
And according to the Ford Museum, it's 1891. They sold it to Monahan. He let it sit outside and get all rusty, and I bought it.
After it got all rusty.
Oh yeah.
Hope you got a discount that way.
I give him 27 cents on the dollar of what he paid for it.
Wow.
Just a discount enough.
Almost a quarter of what they paid for it. That's not too bad. And then the Stanley, you got the Stanley after.
13 Stanley, I bought that at Hershey.
Oh, really?
Bought it from Carl Ainsley. He's kind of the world's leading Stanley man. Dead now.
I thought who was that up in Michigan that has the Stanley, the big
Mike May.
Mike May. I thought he was the big Stanley guy.
He was kind of second in line.
Second line. Because he's got a mountain wagon, right?
Yeah.
So the 13 Stanley is just a little roadster.
10-horse roadster. It's a real Stanley, though. It's not one of them reproductions.
Right. Which you were in the middle of building, right? You started with an engine, but that's you were going to build the body.
I had the body, I had the springs, I had everything.
Okay.
But I didn't have the ambition to put together.
I sort of remember you working on it.
So I traded it off and I bought this one instead. This is a fun little car to drive. 10 horsepower. Back in the corner there's a light plant, and hitting this engine there's a big generator and a bunch of other junk.
The big light on top of the shelf there?
That's a locomotive headlight.
Locomotive headlight. Just because you thought you ought to have one.
There's a little Locomobile steam engine here on this end.
Yeah, standing up.
Yeah.
The same style as what's in the
That's right.
1899.
It's a little different, but it's the same thing, really.
Yeah. What was is that some sort of shelving unit out of a...
Back bar out of a beer joint or something, I don't know.
You don't know. It's actually got glass on the ends, doesn't it? Yeah. Weird.
They should refinish it, but the junk I got piled on wouldn't look good then.
The junk's taking down the shelves, it looks like.
Yeah. Down on the other end, the boat motor. One cylinder top.
And then a couple more hit and miss motors here.
Yeah, generators.
Generator.
The green and red one there is the boat motor.
The one on the truck, or no, the other one's a generator. Oh, you're talking about the green. Okay. That's the green and red one sitting on the blocks there.
Right, yeah.
That's the boat motor.
That's a boat motor. That's probably good enough for a 30-foot boat.
Huh. And then there's a little steam-powered.
Yeah, this little steam engine here laid around here on the shelf for 40 years. Finally got the notion to put together one day. Not really finished with it, but good enough for now.
So it's a 1906 Rio? Runabout?
That's right.
This is a one cylinder?
Cylinder.
Huh?
Single cylinder.
Single cylinder. You've had this a lot of years though, right?
Oh yeah, I bought this in 1967, I think, 66 maybe. Bought it down McCutcheonville. No, Sycamore, not McCutcheonville. The new in McCutcheonville, I bought it in Sycamore. For the white tenor in the garage in Sycamore.
You said the fenders are wood?
Fenders are wood.
Which is sort of unusual.
What's that?
Seems like it's sort of unusual, especially with all the curves and stuff in them.
That was fairly similar. That was fairly common.
Fairly common to start out with.
Yeah.
When did they start moving to metal fenders?
Rio did in about 1907, I think.
So they had a couple years of wood fenders. Because 5 was the first year for Rio, right?
That's right. Yeah, this is a fun car to drive. It's about shakes you to death.
It's got a little flip-up seat in the back.
This is the first car that did that, I guess.
Really? Tom's has got like a whole back end that removes off, right?
Yeah, well, his is a 2-cylinder.
Oh, it is. I didn't know that. His is a 5.
Yeah, his is a real early one.
A real early 5.
Yeah.
Huh.
Serial number 76, I think.
Wow. Did you find that for him, or
I knew where it was.
you know where it was? So I call this the vault. I don't know what you call it. Your
Good enough name for it.
kind of your Jack. What is it? Is it Jack Benny? Jack.
Yeah, Jack Benny had a vault.
Right. So you thought you ought to have 1 or 2 or 3?
Yeah, well, this one really.
Kind of one that goes into multiple rooms, though.
Yeah.
And you did this. It's been quite a few years ago now. Although you've added on to it over the years.
I've had it 20 years, I suppose.
And the dance hall organ is from 20s somewhere?
I guess maybe early 30s.
Early 30s?
It doesn't work at the moment. I have to get a money injection.
Money or just tinkering with it?
As far as I tinker with it, I could probably figure it out. Get tired of tinkering after a while.
That's hard to believe. I thought you, that's your life is tinkering.
Like change life.
And there's just a little bit of everything in this room.
Yeah, a little bit.
What's in the case next to you?
I bought this case over Tradio one day.
Tradio is on the local radio station.
Yeah, somebody had this case and I went and looked at it and bought it. And then I had to have the end fixed on it here. The piece that was missing off the end of it. So I had that fixed and then I folded up the junk.
Pretty good sized case.
Yeah, it is a nice case.
Somebody made a lamp out of a fire extinguisher?
Somebody's already done that, so I just put a shade on it.
And the Wurlitzer looks real old, but it's a remake, isn't it?
It was made in the 70s.
Made in the 70s, yeah.
What did that do to your pictures?
Makes them really dark.
That's what I want.
Huh, Hudson service clock, huh?
Hudson Agency here in town.
Really? And you have another case over here with your hats and
woman's apparel shop in Bloomville. They were closing up after many years. They sell them off for furniture, and so I bought it.
they used it as a showcase for what? Do you know?
$125 for it.
A whole 125. And you have hats in it and trophies and plaques and.
It originally had hats in it.
Is that what it was? The hat case?
Yeah.
Well, we'll go to the next room.
One more light in there, go and pull that chain of the radiator.
Okay. So in here we have a 1909 white steam operated car. What do they call this body style?
Roadster.
Roadster. With a mother-in-law seat. Keep her in the back. And you were saying you bought it at an auction in Auburn?
I bought it at Auburn auction in 1977, I think.
77.
It come through the auction. I tried to buy it in the springtime. It was advertising Hemmings. And I was too late. The guy had already sold it. So I saw it advertised then for Auburn in the fall.
So somebody bought it and then sold it right away again?
His son was playing with it and he's afraid he's going to get hurt, so he sold it.
Oh.
And he had it all goofed up too. Took me years to straighten it out. Anyway, it went through the auction and it sold for less money than he sold it, than he paid for it in the spring.
So it was a good thing for you.
Yeah, well, I guess it was. So I thought, well, I ought to buy that. So I called home and I talked to Dad about it. And he said, well, what do you want me to do? I said, bring a truck, call Smith and get the truck out and bring it over and pick it up. said, all right. And I went back and I told the guy, I said, I can't buy the car from you. He said, why not? I said, well, I didn't come prepared to buy a car. You're not going to take a personal check. He said, yeah, I see you got your checkbook in your pocket. He said, I'll take a personal check. He said, you got an honest face. And I said, well, all right. There's an undertaker. I figured if
He knew faces, huh?
another, yeah. Anyway, I give him a personal check for it for just what he paid for it plus $1,000.
Oh, wow.
He paid for the car and we went out the gate with it and put it in my truck and took it home.
And a high wheel bicycle?
Bought that from Tony Gato. He was a bicycle dealer here in town, also a Harley dealer. And he was hanging back in his back room. And he moved out of the building several years later. I knew it was there. And he moved out. So I saw him in a beer joint one day. And I said, Tony, I said, you still got that bicycle? He said, yep. You want to sell it? Yep. What do you want for it? Make me an offer. I didn't want to make him an offer. So nothing more was done. Next time I saw him, he was in the same beer joint. I said, Tony, I want to buy that bicycle. He said, all right. Never any question about whether he'd sell it or anything. He just said, all right. What do you want for it? Well, make me an offer. For 3 years, every time I saw him, he said, make me an offer. And I tired. I said, one day I saw him on the street, and I said, Tony, I'm buying that bicycle from you today. He said, okay. How much you want? Make me an offer. I said, we're not getting anywhere this way, Tony. He said, oh, make me an offer. All right, I said, you got to start somewhere, $100. Oh, no. I said, that's too much. I said, well, what do you want? He said, I don't know, but that's too much. I said, well, what do you want? And he said, make me an offer. I said, no, I made you an offer. He said, make me another offer. I said, all right, $50. He said, come and get it. And that was that.
Of course, it wasn't near this nice. You've had to restore it since then.
It's broke out of it. There was no tires on it. The wheel was bad. Handlebars, half of it was missing. And I had to make a lot of parts for it.
But it was something to start with.
Anyway, it's a real bicycle. It's got a tapered backbone, which all of the imitation shops don't have. It's 56 inch, which is just a fuzz too big for me. You got to measure the stroke of the bottom pedal up to the
Right.
top of the handlebars, and I don't have that much inseam. I climbed up on it one day and I looked down and I said, huh? I climbed off and that was that.
I didn't realize about the tapered backbone on that.
Oh yeah, you look at any of these and if it's got a tapered backbone, it's either an awfully good reproduction or it's an original.
Huh.
I've never tried to ride it and I'm never going to try to ride it. The other one I have is the same year, same kind of bike, everything.
And where did you get
2
that?
inches smaller.
2 inches smaller.
I bought it down at Sycamore to sale.
Well, we're just about out of tape, and you wanted to run the merry-go-round over again.
So I shut it off for a second.